So a major update to the Travis Decker case. He has been running around for the past 11 days. They had found some blood, and there was one blood sample that came back as a male human, and then the other blood sample came back as an animal. And so it makes me think about the dog. It makes me think, did his dog defend the daughters? The daughters that he was supposed to defend. Dogs are angels. Dogs are humankind's best friend. And it's crazy to me when I think about Iran is trying to ban walking dogs in the park. So that's the main update, was that they found an animal's blood, on the scene in the truck or something. So this is just such a crazy case because of a number of reasons, right? This guy is accused of killing his own daughters, Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia. And not only is that a crime against God and a crime against nature and a crime against humankind, it's just so disturbing when you even think about that Peyton, Evelyn, and Olivia were good kids. They were known to be very polite and just good kids, and they were excited to visit their father. They were excited to be around their father. And then they had found also that he had killed them the night that he had picked them up. So May 30th, when they asked for the missing persons, the Amber Alert, when they contacted authorities, there was danger that had happened that night. And then they had just kind of by happenstance had found his truck. And his truck is kind of crazy that they found a blanket, and there was food and car seats and a wallet. So if he's out there, living off grid, why wouldn't he take a blanket or food? And then why leave his truck, around the scene? That seems crazy also. The dog was found, and the dog was turned into a local humane society. So I'd like to think that the dog will be rehomed and that somebody would adopt him. I wish more people would adopt dogs. When I think about the steep terrain of the Rocky Mountains, especially there on the Pacific Crest, it's a bunch of steep terrains. There's a bunch of rocks. A bunch of big rocks. He could just, stay under a big rock, and then there's heavily forested areas and bushy areas. There's also wild animals, and to think that the limited resources of the authorities, the local government has said that they're maxed out. They're maxed out. They've been looking for a week or so, and they need to use their resources for the local community. And so the National Guard has been deployed. Bob Ferguson, the governor, has deployed the National Guard, and then the federal agents are also on the scene trying to find him as well. Haiti had defeated France, and Vietnam had defeated America, and then you have the Appalachian Trail. The people in Appalachia are known to raise marijuana, and they're also known to be bootleggers. And so when I think about just historically speaking, it's just when it comes to a mountainous terrain, there's infinite amounts of places to hide and kind of infinite amount of weapons as well, because there's rocks all over the place. So that's when you think about the devil in the Ozarks, they had actually found him just within 1 mile. They'd found him within 1 mile of where he had escaped from. And so he didn't, get very far. Now, he had Googled how to relocate to Canada. He also Googled how to get a job there, and that was several days before May 30th had happened, the foul, evil deed that he had done. And so the how to relocate to Canada or how to get a job, those are two interesting searches, because it's almost like he's thinking about absconding. So why did he have to kill the kids? Why did he have to murder the kids? That doesn't make any sense. His own kids, he could have, just took off, and then when he took off, then his kids, will carry on his legacy and, just knowing who their father was. And instead, he killed his own kids, and knowing that they were polite, they probably, they're excited to see him, so they probably listened to everything he said. And And then the fact that he had killed them, the day of. There was a defense attorney that said that there's two ways to defend the the charges. One is just that he's crazy. They say he's got borderline personality disorder. And then the other one was to deny that it was him. And so when I think about, just the evidence and is there something else going on, there's two bloody handprints. How do we not know what his blood is, what his handprints are? How do we not know his fingerprints? And why wouldn't the law enforcement tell us? The local law enforcement, the Chelan County law enforcement, said that they weren't being totally transparent. They said they want to protect the integrity of the case, which is so crazy. There's so much attention that's being focused on this. You should really say anything and everything that you possibly know. I mean, it seems like he's just kind of out there, by himself. Is it possible he's connected to somebody else, It seems unlikely that he would go to Canada, but anything's possible at this point. He could be within a mile, of the initial scene, which was, next to Leavenworth by the Rock Island campground. That's where they found the truck and the three bodies. The three bodies which they were zip tied and they had bags put over their heads and then they were thrown over an embankment. When I think about that defense attorney just saying, that if maybe it wasn't him, that somebody has suggested maybe the cartel was involved, and so if he's doing illegal stuff, guns, drugs, there is a possibility that he could have owed some cartel something, and then the cartel had punished him. But that seems unlikely. Occam's razor says that the simplest, most obvious solution is probably the right one. There is a outdoorsman survivalist that said all you need is just 7 items in order to survive, and he said a water purification straw and some sort of poncho liner and a 550 cord and some sort of knife. He only mentioned that you needed like 7 items, which is quite incredible. But when you think of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you just need what? You need sleep, you need shelter, you need food and water, and body heat, so you need to stay warm. So those things, water seems like it'll rain, and I'm sure there's pools of water wherever. And then food would be the biggest thing, but they had said that maybe there was some sort of stash of food, but he walked away from food. He had food left in his truck. So there's just some weird sort of loose ends to this thing. It's like, why? Why did he leave his truck there? Why are there 2 bloody handprints that they can't identify? They only say that the blood was from a male, not from him. That the handprints, they don't even say who the handprints were from. And then the animal, what animal could that be? Could that be, some sort of chicken or something, or some sort of goat or something, It does seem like maybe the dog had tried, because the dog thing is kind of perplexing as well. If the dog had defended them, then that would make sense that the dog had stayed by, the girls. Because the dog, I would think, would follow him and walk along with him. If it wasn't tied up, then, just stay right there and then he just walks away? Why wouldn't it just run, to be with him? It's interesting that the dog was found not with him. So, yeah, there's some severely messed up shit, man. So we'll see how this case turns out. Hopefully they find the bastard. Talk about some cowardly shit, He's going through something and he's going to take it out on his 3 girls, his 3 daughters.